The politicians don't need our votes to get to power. Who do they need? The judges. That is why Wike is building mansions for judges. That is why state governors are donating Prados and Land Cruisers to judges across the states. That is why they are making sure judges are the best paid people in Nigeria. And meanwhile, governors who cannot pay minimum wage are feeding judges with the kind of money and emoluments and free prey that you cannot add up and cannot declare. Because citizens don't care.
So, but Prof, you think buying houses and giving vehicles to judges are wrong?
By politicians? Of course I think it's wrong. You think I'm going to pull back from that and tell you it is very right? It is wrong.
To help them do their jobs well, make them live
Excuse me, what happened to judicial budget?
Susceptible to
what happened to judicial budget? Now, okay, so a governor has money or thinks they have money to give to procurement of vehicles for judges. Why is that not in the judicial budget?
So anything that anyone... because in the code of conduct for judicial officers, it is given that there is an amount, there is a level of gifting that any judge can subject himself or herself to.
No.
Actually. But it's in the code of conduct.
Go and read the
cannot receive
precisely
gifts. Do you amount these kind of houses or vehicles to this kind of gifts?
Absolutely, yes.
So,
as a matter of fact,
any judge that receives this vehicle or house has breached the code of judicial conduct.
As far as if I'm a lawyer arguing before a court in Nigeria, and you have received, and I'm in a case involving a state governor or a state government, and you have received a car, I will seek to recuse you. As a matter, I will not negotiate it. I will recuse you, or you will recuse, or you will sack me from your court. But I will not continue doing a case before you if you have received a vehicle from a governor. And if you're a chief judge and you're assigning a case, having received a car from a governor, I'll fight you to the end if I were a lawyer in the state. I won't. This is the point. And now we all have to make accommodations for these things. I practiced law. I started off legal practice at a time in this country when that was unheard of. I've been a lawyer in this country for nearly 40 years. Okay? I started off before the law entirely left me. And I'm happy that it left me because there are things I can no longer understand. This is the same country in which Alison Madueke, when he became military governor of Anambra State, old Anambra State in 1984, summoned Emmanuel Araka, who was the chief judge of Anambra State at the time. Araka declined to go to the office of the state governor because he found it incompatible with his status as a judge. And he was seeking accommodation for them to meet in a neutral place. Alison Madueke summoned him a second time. He declined. Alison Madueke went to Tunde Idiagbon and asked Tunde Idiagbon, it is either that man is fired or you get rid of me. And because Alison Madueke, although he was a Navy captain, he was senior to Tunde Idiagbon. Okay? Alison Madueke was in regular course 1 of the Nigerian Defense Academy. He only lost seniority as a result of the Civil War. All right? But actually his mates were Aliu Gusau and the lot.
Yeah.
Okay? So he was in Oladipo Dia and all that. So as a result, they looked at Tunde Idiagbon, Alison Madueke, and what did they do? He told him fire him. They fired Emmanuel Araka as a result. 1984. Okay? Now, why did they fire him? Because he asserted his independence as a chief judge of the state. We had judges in this country, and we still do, by the way, who are not willing to bend to the caprice of temporal power for the purpose of keeping office. But now they are endangered. And it is important to remember that the judicial office is not one where you go to beg for cars in order to do your work. These days, if you're independent, you don't get a car. Your orderly is withdrawn. You're sent to a court where the roof is leaking. And you're sent to a place where you're endangered without protection. That is what they do to the judges who are today willing to be independent and truthful to their judicial oaths.
So you think independence largely has been thrown out of the window in Nigerian judiciary
Manifestly.
System? Are we in danger?
Who are we?
The people of Nigeria.
Are we not living with it at the moment? That is why violence is rising. Because Lawyers are going to hire heavies, are going to hire thugs to recover debt rather than go to court. Mechanisms of mediation and arbitration are not working because you cannot trust them anymore to work. You have court orders that are not being respected. I'm not even going to. What is his name? Alhaji Maman, the immediate past, the former minister for energy, right? Power, who was convicted. He was convicted in absentia, wasn't he? Was he in court when he was convicted? To the best of your knowledge, is that compatible with the standards of criminal procedure that you've been taught?
When your trial is being opened, your charges must be read to you. When in the close of trial on judgment, you must be in the dock standing to receive your trial.
Nobody found that incongruous, that we were convicting a person who was not in court. It seemed all normal. And it is because of the embarrassment and the rising public askance that they went and looked and took him back from where they secreted him. Because quite clearly, I cannot understand how a person of that seniority could have been undergoing trial while being absent from court, and nobody was worried about that. And so when the public askance started rising, they went and just collected him back from where they had secreted him in Kaduna. That it does not bother any of us.
Prof, yet another statement that you...
Hello, everyone. I'm sure you heard Chidi Odinkalu there, which is all he said. Spot on. The politicians feel that judges are the one who are going to give them something. And that's why, for me, one of the things that I've demanded for in the last few years is that the court should no longer be allowed to have the power to declare who wins election. What the court should be given the power to do is for them to call for a rerun or for an election, to cancel an election and let them go and redo it. Because it means that millions of people sit down to go and cast their vote. And then a few people, less than 10, sit down in one room with their heavy gowns and dusty, whatever it is, the wigs that they put on their head, and they decide the fate for the nation. And it starts in that way. And we've seen over time how the judiciary have continuously allowed itself to be the tool, to be the tool of corrupt politicians. And we can't continue like this. As we go into the 2027 election, is to ensure that the judges understand truly that power belongs to the people. And that if they do anyhow, they will see anyhow. Because this time we cannot sit down and allow few corrupt people sit down in one place and truncate the lives of the people. This is not the time to sit down. Politicians will think that they have the judges. We, the people, need to show the politicians and the judges that indeed power belongs to the people. You see, Kenya, there was an election, I think it was 2017 or thereabout, election was overturned. In Kenya, they had to cancel presidential election. The people sat down and surrounded the whole court, as in, if you judge anyhow, you people are going to meet up. At the end of the day, the judges were forced to have sense. That's the same thing we need to do in this country.